because I am known for just talking endlessly and endlessly, because you know, that's the egotistical maniac that I am. We are now live. Oh, that's a bit of reverb. I think that's coming from you, possibly. I don't know. Okay.
Can you hear me?
I think you might have a YouTube open, maybe.
No,
okay. No, it's okay. I think I can't hear it now. It's okay. May have all sorted.
Okay.
technical gremlins. That's what it's all about. Well, welcome along, everybody. If you are a subscriber to the channel, you will have gotten a notification that we are now live. Thank you very much indeed for subscribing. If you are not a subscriber, if you're coming to this after the fact, or if you're spotting this on after a social media blast, please do hit the subscribe button. It does let you know when we go live each and every Sunday. Usually we are up and running by 10 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock, get this right, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. GMT. And we usually try and go live a little bit early just to kind of let everyone get settled, and to remind everyone that that we are going to be trying our best to cover as many of the cons coming up. So if there's anybody that wants to do a live report from one of those cons, if you want to grab your phone, if you want to jump in on the Hangout and kind of give us a walk around of any of the shows coming up, because we do have a very packed con calendar. Safe to say there's some big shows on the way. Emerald City in just a few weeks. We've got a whole bunch on the way. If you are going to be attending any of these shows and you want to jump in and take part as kind of a live report, we haven't had one of those for a while, so it'd be good to have you on the show, kind of letting us know what cons you're attending in 2019. I'll be doing a live report post-con next week, because I'm going to be heading down to Brighton for the ICE International Comic Art Festival. This is the show that happens down on the south coast of the UK. It's a bit of a distance from me, but it's worth going down. Some fantastic creators going down, and I'm going to be panel hosting for those. I'm going to try my best to live stream a number of those sessions as well, and I'll be posting those to my Patreons. Please do support at patreon.com/Englishman SDCC. So they'll be posted to the Patreon first, and then we'll be sharing them on the Convention Collective at a later date. But that is the ICE International Comics Expo taking place in Brighton next week. What else is happening? I know that this weekend has been the London Film and Comic Con. If there's anyone who's been to the Olympia this weekend, if you want to jump in on the chat room, let us know how it's gone. I know that a lot of people have had a lot of fun with the people that have been appearing at that particular show. So please do let us know who you've seen, and yeah, just share your experiences of LFCC this weekend. Right, it's 2 minutes past, so we're running a little bit late, so let's dive straight into it. Welcome to Talkin Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego. Usually at this point I'd be wearing a geek t-shirt, but it's absolutely freezing here in the UK because we are in the wake of a Arctic storm blast, which is absolutely ravaging the UK at the moment, sending the temperatures down. There's rain left, right and centre. We are definitely in that kind of storm season. But I'm here with a cup of tea. I'm all nicely warmed up, and we've got ourselves loads of people jumping in on the chat room already. We've got Andrew English, who has just gotten home from LFCC. A bit of a headache, but you can explain why. Is it being very loud down there? The Olympia is one venue I'm not a massive fan of. It's just a lot of reverb, and it's a very echoey kind of building. But there we go. We've got Dan Berry, who's saying hello. Both him and Aaron Neighbors are going to be heading to a con. I believe it's San Diego Comic Fest that's going to be happening next weekend. We also have Betsy, who's asking me not to forget it's 9 a.m. Alaska time. Thank you very much indeed for joining us at 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning. Good Lord. Thank you very much indeed. Super Catchick is saying hi. She's got a very cold and snowy Kansas City. Listen, thank you very much indeed for joining us. And also thank you very much indeed for bearing with us over our 2-week gap, which I had to take off. It was a very sad set of affairs where we had to head to Cardiff for a number of funerals on my wife's family side. I'd like to thank everyone who sent out kind words of support and love to Caroline, and she really appreciates it. I really appreciate it as well. And thank you very much indeed for bearing with us while we took that brief hiatus to attend those events. Right, let's dive straight into it. We have got ourselves a couple of features that we're going to be doing today. Later on, we're going to be talking kind of like Comic-Con 101 sessions on how to attend your con. These are going to be more from my own perspective, but of course, if you want to jump in on the topic, it's going to be about Artist Alley, about how to approach artists on the other side of the table, what to expect from the people that you meet and greet at these conventions. So that's what we're going to be getting into a little bit later. But that is after we speak to our special guest, who has joined us very last minute after a bit of a social media blast out from someone who has turned me on to her work. Shakita Smith. Hello, Shakita. How are you?
How are you doing?
Have I pronounced your name right first? I want to make sure that. Sorry.
Shakita.
I have. Excellent stuff. Excellent. Now, the reason why it's great to have you on the Hangout is for twofold. Number one, for your excellent work on Shiro Comics and on the books that you put out. Dan, like I say, has turned me onto them, and yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a big fan of the books, and very much looking forward to seeing what else you do with Raven Choi. So looking forward to any future issues of that. But also we're going to be talking about this pop-up con that you're organising as well. So it's very much twofold the reason why we've gotten you on, because you're definitely ticking all of the boxes for what we do here on the Hangout. I think first things first, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about how you got into comics and that kind of thing.
My name is Shakita Smith. I am from Salisbury, North Carolina, which is a small town in North Carolina. I got into comics. I don't even remember how. It was like I grew up. There were no comic shops where I lived. All I had access to was Archie and Veronica at the grocery store and the Sunday newspaper. So I would go grab the comic side of the newspaper from my grandmother and read it on Sundays. After college, I thought about doing comics, so I started creating this comic series, two comic series. Never really went anywhere. I still have the art and everything, but nothing really happened. So I wanted to write screenplays. So I started writing screenplays. My first screenplay was a finalist in Sundance. So I was like, well, maybe I should take this serious. And so I've been writing ever since. In 2008, I saw Iron Man, and I saw what Marvel was doing with bringing the marriage between film and the books. And I was like, this is a pretty cool thing. And so I had already written Raven Choi as a screenplay. So I was like, maybe I should turn Raven Choi into a graphic novel. And I procrastinated for 6 years, like we all do. And then I finally was just like, okay, it's time to do this now, after probably several more Marvel movies that I saw. And then in 2016, I released the first book. And last year, released the third book. And this year, we're going to release the final 2 books if I'm ever able to sit down and and finish it with my artist. Like, we're working on it, but we need to work on it faster. So I have it coming for you guys. I know you're waiting on it, and I'm waiting to get it out. So yeah, it's coming.
I mean, Raven Choi started as a kind of an idea for the screen then,
Yeah.
which I think that's something that does seem there's a lot of that around, where there's ideas, an idea that is very much crystallized in a creator's head, and they want to put it for one medium, but then comics, at the end of the day, you have unlimited budget, as it were, for your cameras and your special effects, as it were. I mean, is that what really kind of grabs you about the medium, of comics?
That was part of it. It was like, because I can't afford to shoot Raven Choi. Like, I do independent films, short films. But I'm like, I can't really afford to shoot a movie in Korea. I didn't think at that point in time. I didn't afford to shoot a movie in Korea, but I could actually put it into this medium. But also, I want to have intellectual property. Because that's just kind of the thing. It's just to have a book, a series, or whatever, something that's yours, your name's on it. You can publish it yourself. And so that's kind of what I went with. I was like, okay, let me go. I think this will fit into a book series. It's kind of badass chick. Those are the movies I love to watch. And a lot of those movies end up being based off of a comic book character a lot of times. So, like, I mean, yeah, so it was like Sin City. Like, there's all these movies that I was seeing. I was just like, okay, this will fit into that whole little pocket of films, so or comics. And so, yeah, that's what I did with Raven Choi. And I feel like as a book, you can take it all over the world, which I've been doing. And so that's kind of the idea behind it. It was like, I get to see my movie in a book format, but it's still visual. So it's not just words. They actually see what I see when I see the movie. So it was a good match.
That makes sense. I'll tell you what, for those people who haven't seen Raven Choi, who don't maybe know anything about the book, give us the elevator pitch. Tell us about Raven Choi. Tell us about her adventures.
Okay, my elevator pitch is Raven Choi is about a girl. She's 5 years old. A hitman kills her parents right in front of her. They send her off to Korea as witness protection. She spends 20 years in Korea, adopted by a Korean family. That's why she becomes Choi, because before she's Johnson. She finds a clue her dad left in her teddy bear. It's a taped confession that he had, what he knew about North Korea. She decides to come back to America to find the killer and becomes a bounty hunter in the process. So it's a 5-part series. The first 3 books are out. As I mentioned, we're working on the last 2 books. After we finish those 2 books, we're going to do a prequel showing Raven as a child growing up in Korea. So it's kind of like a young Karate Kid type of thing of her growing up as a young Black woman in Korea.
Excellent stuff. I mean, I've read the first 2. I've yet to read the 3rd.
Okay.
And I'm absolutely jazzed about the character, and the artwork's absolutely stunning as well. It's a gorgeous book. It's a gorgeous book to look at. I mean, how long has it taken for you to put? Did it take you to put the book together? Say like actually sitting down and going from first page to actually getting a book completed.
Oh gosh, so we started in maybe October of 2014. And then, so we did the first 2 books, and we released the first 2 books in 2016. So it was about a little bit, almost like a year and a half, maybe it took to do the first 2 books, because I had no idea what I was doing. And I didn't tell anybody. I just kind of read books on, and I already been reading comics or whatever, kind of researching it. But I wanted to kind of do it a little bit at a time because it's cheaper that way. And then it was just kind of me and my artist. I didn't have a whole team of people or anything like that. So yeah, it took us about a year and a half for the first 2 books. The 3rd book was like a thorn in my side. It was so hard because my artist kind of dropped out because he had a new baby. And so I had to find people that could actually draw like him, which was like, I went through probably 10 or 12 artists to find someone that can draw similar to him enough to where it didn't disrupt the book. And so we finished that one in about maybe 3 months or something. I had a couple of different artists. So these last 2 books, I think we're going to finish them pretty quickly because I now have a team of people. So that goes by a lot faster. So my fingers are crossed that we're going to finish these books really cool, really quick time. So yeah.
Excellent. Well, you've put them, you've published them under Shiro Comics, which is, I mean, it's a term which has certainly been, it's been co-opted. I'd be having words with Marvel if I were you. What's that all about? It's a great umbrella for the books to come under, but obviously it is just at the moment for Raven Choi. Is it something else you were thinking of developing for other creators as well, which have very similar sensibilities to yourself? What would you say is the goal for Shiro Comics?
Yeah, so Shiro Comics, when I started this, it was just to release Raven Choi under, but it's grown into something way bigger than I ever imagined. I have Shiro Talks, which I go and talk to kids about comics. I go talk to kids about picking your college major, and that's an umbrella underneath Shiro Comics as my company. I mean, my whole purpose is to kind of release Raven Choi, but then to build a platform big enough to where I can bring other women, other creators into my company, my fold, and kind of release their books as well. So it started out as just publishing like other people's books. Eventually, after I built enough people, enough fandom for my company, but now it's turning into like, I'm in the public speaking, like Shiro Talks is kind of like TED Talks, where it's women that go out and talk about their stories. And then I'm doing a documentary right now. So I'm doing a documentary called The Shiro Universe that follows me. I've been going to international Comic Cons. I may come to the UK. I may come to you one of these days. I've been to
Korea. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, I've been to Korea. I've been to Indonesia. I've been to New York Comic Con, which was absolutely crazy. I'm supposed to be going to Japan in August to Comic-Con, which is the biggest Comic Con in the world. And then I'm going to end my tour in Africa, South Africa, Johannesburg, Comic Con Africa, South Africa in September. And so that's the documentary that I'm doing, kind of taking you guys inside the biggest Comic Cons in the world and showing you how crazy it is. I'm taking one for the team. it's a lot of work. And
Well,
so there's a lot of different things that are coming out of Shiro Comics. That and you've seen the short film for Raven. I'm not sure if you saw that. So we shot a short film just kind of go along with the book series, kind of introduce the live action part of it.
that's nice. I mean, I think it's something that also leads on to a question that's on our chat box at the moment about your con appearances. Like I say, it sounds like you've been incredibly busy, and obviously we are going to talk about ShiroCon,
Yeah.
1 week away.
Yeah.
Not to stress you out or anything, but it's this week. So yeah, we'll get into that in a second. But obviously, your con appearances are a big way for you to connect with your audience. How's that element of it grown in terms of you having to kind of knock on the door and ask conventions for a space for you to get behind the table, for them to then start inviting you? How's that element grown and developed?
I've been invited to a few cons for the tour with going around to different cons internationally. I so happened to meet someone who's really high up at Read Pop Comics, the ones that do New York Comic Con and do a lot of the international Comic Cons. So when I was in Korea, I met him, and so he's kind of helped me introduce me to everybody around the world at different Comic Cons that they run. So
dare I ask who?
His name is Ku.
Sorry?
His name is Ku.
Okay, no, I don't know him.
Okay.
No, yeah, I know one or two of the people in the Repop organizations. Okay.
Yeah, but he handles all of like the international cons, so he like travels around to them. So he was in Korea when I was in Korea, and he's like, "Who? You're here? Like I'm American in Korea." It's just like you stand out when you go there. I mean, there's other Americans there because the military's there, but like I was there from America, like specifically for this con. They're just like, "What is she doing here?" So everybody came to see what I was doing, and they liked what I was doing, and so he's kind of introduced me to different cons in like Africa and other countries to kind of let them know that I want to come. And they've been like just excellent. Like I was supposed to go to France in January, it didn't work out, but in Goulame, like they wanted me to come. So I'm like, as many as I can go to, I'm trying to, but like it doesn't always work out because it costs money to go to these cons. But yeah, it's been really cool, like to communicate with people in different countries, different languages. I've been using Google Translate. I only speak English, and I speak Kamsamida is the only word I know in Korean. So yeah, it's been really interesting to kind of do this whole tour and go to all these countries and not know the languages. So it's been fun.
That's cool. Obviously, as well, we've got a lot of conversation going off in fandoms about diversity in comics, about women comics, just black creators, and just general. There's been a lot over the last couple of years of very contentious argument and discussion about the topics. But the heroes that you create and also the books that you write are very much feminist statements. How have you seen those been reacting, not only in the US but also on an international scale?
Oh, wow. So internationally, I think we've done well. Like I think Indonesia was the sink or swim for me. Like Korea was very diverse. Plus I had the books translated into Korean. So like, even if they didn't speak English, I was able to kind of show them my card and be like, this is what it's about. It was written in Korean. So they kind of saw the story and kind of saw themselves in the story as well, because it takes place in Korea. Indonesia was my sink or swim moment because Indonesia, there's not a lot of Americans there. It's just straight up Indonesia. And so I'm like, okay, either they're going to like this or they're not going to like this. So we're going to see if we're going to sink or swim. And they came and they bought the books, they bought the jewelry. So like this necklace I'm wearing was like bestseller in New York and Indonesia. It's a cross. It's a savior. In the book, they wear this necklace as their sign, their symbol. But
you've got your own merch. That's how it should be done.
Yeah, so yeah, Indonesia, they really reacted to it really well. They loved the book. I got a chance to go speak to two colleges, or two schools, a high school and a college when I was there. So that was really cool. So they were really into it. As far as feminists, like mostly a lot of men buy my book. So maybe they're feminists too. But they tell me that they think of her as Batman, the story, because her parents die and she kind of comes back and kind of goes to revenge. I'm like, she's not rich at all, but they kind of see that, that's what they see the character as. And that's kind of like art. Like art is subjective to what you think it is and what your perspective is. So it's like, if men see that, then that's great. They get to buy the book and be into the character. So I haven't really gotten any kind of negative feedback from it. I mean,
That's cool.
you have some people here and there that say like stuff like, oh, I don't like the art. Like, so it's cool as you say you like the art. And I'm just like, well, I like the art. So that's really what matters, is that I like it. That's what I wanted to put out there. Everybody's has their own thing. That's way, I mean, I probably will end up doing a book with stick figures because that's how I draw. I draw stick figures. So one day I'm going to tell my story and it's going to be stick figures and someone's going to like it. So yeah, art is subjective. It's been really cool.
Something tells me if you decide to actually have that as an element of Shiro Comics, if you could let me know, because that's right up there with my art style as well. So yeah, my rudimentary doesn't even begin to cover it. So that's really excellent. Something I wanted to talk about is about the conventions, because obviously that's primarily what the podcast is about.
Right.
But also when it comes to creators like yourself, it's a lot of, like you say, it's a lot of effort and money to actually attend these conventions. And I find it interesting from all scales of publication, because we're going to be speaking to someone from Valiant next week. So we're talking from a single title publisher like yourself to Valiant that has the space to have massive booths.
Yeah.
But then you have to ask where the cons fit into that kind of reaching people, because obviously you've got yourself a wide international market. You've got people that are from across the country, and you can speak to them on digital, you can speak to them and sell to them digitally, you can mail them out. Where does the con experience fit into that? Because it sounds like you also kind of fold in talks and panel appearances to your con appearances. But when it comes to actually selling the books, how vital is attending a con to you?
I think it gives you exposure. I think you have to kind of get in front of an audience to even build, because like those 10 people or those 20 people, well, there's a lot more at cons than that. But those people that you kind of connect with and talk to throughout the day, I mean, they go tell their friends. Like you said, you found out about a book from someone else and you like the book, so it kind of spreads. And so you kind of have to figure those 10 hardcore fans that you created at Comic Con, and they're going to hopefully go and spread the word for you and become your mouthpieces in that country. And so it's going to spread. And so like me doing the talks at schools and talks at on panels, every country doesn't have panels too. So you know that like some of the countries I've been to, there's no panels. So everything I do is behind my table. So I'm talking to them. So yeah, so it's just like trying to build that hardcore base of maybe 10 or 20 people that really, really like you and really, really like what you're doing, that can go spread the word. I take up emails at every con I go to. So they sign an email. So I have an email list of people all over the world that I can email about new books coming out, about what's happening in my life. Like 2 weeks ago, InStyle magazine did a feature on me. So I was able to shoot that out to everybody that I met over the past 8 months that I've been traveling, or actually the last 2 years that I've been traveling. So yeah, it's just kind of building that fandom and then still like being able to communicate with them directly. So social media a lot gets lost in translation, but I like the emails aspect of being able to go directly into their email inboxes and tell them what's going on and how Raven Toy is progressing. So I think that's the key also, to building. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
And also getting the chance to look them right in the eye and engage their reaction and speak to them as well. That's cool. Excellent. You've got Michael P. Is it Michael P that's asking? Yeah, Michael P is asking, and this is a question which you can answer. We'll skip ShiroCon because we want to come back to that. Okay. But the question is, when's your next con appearance? So let's talk about 2019 and what you've got lined up. What's on the card so far?
So let's see. So ShiroCon, we'll talk. I'll have to say that's my next appearance, which is on Saturday, March 9th. After that, I was supposed to go to Mexico right after that, but I don't think it's going to happen. It may last minute may come up and I may go to LaMoCon in Mexico, but right now I'm just like, I don't think it's going to happen. So the next one will be, I'll be in Baton Rouge at a Mid-City MicroCon. It's Baton Rouge, the public library there has a MicroCon, a small, very mini con. I'm going to there. I'm excited because they're excited about having me there. They invited me down, so I'm going to that. Then after that, I'm taking a little bit of a hiatus. I'm actually going to enjoy my summer this year. I may go to San Diego. I may go to like Anime Con or whatever. I'm not going to be bending. I'll just go and kind of see things. But then I'm Japan. I have to prepare myself mentally for Japan because, like I said, that's the biggest Comic Con in the world. New York Comic Con had 250,000 people, and that one almost took me out because it was just so many people. Comic Con in Japan is 200,000 people per day. So it's just 3 days. So like I have to take some time off to prepare for that, to get ready to go to Tokyo with that many people. And then right after that, so that's in August, I think August 12th. And then the next one is South Africa. So Comic Con Africa is in September. So I think that was 4 days now. So I'll be in South Africa in September. And then that's when we end recording the documentary. So that's the last con is going to be in the documentary. But then after that, I still want to go back to New York. I'm probably going to go to Lucca in Italy. And then I may try to do Brazil. But those are just cons that we're not, I mean, we may end up filming them, but they won't be a part of the documentary that I'm shooting. But yeah, I still want to kind of take you guys into these cons with me because it's crazy. And everybody doesn't get to see that. So it's like I know people that have been doing Comic Cons for years, but have never left the States or never left California. So it's just like, if I'm going to do this, then I'm going to take you guys with me and show you what it's like inside these cons because it's absolutely bananas. And every culture is different. They have different things going on. Like things I saw in Indonesia, never seen anywhere else. So yeah, I'm going to be busy this year, but not as busy as I was last year. Last year was crazy. This year, I'm kind of taking it one step at a time. But Japan, I'm already like, I'm scared.
You can almost picture it like you're thinking of it like you're K2. Okay, well, I'll if I look at that mountain too much, I'm just going to freak out. But
Yeah.
at least you're acclimatizing to it as you're getting closer. Yeah. That's fair enough. So it sounds like, I mean, it's great that you're traveling worldwide to promote your books and also promote Shiro, which is fantastic. But then, of course, you've got your own event as well, which is happening next Saturday, which we've posted about on the site. In fact, I think I might try and do a screen share very quickly while we have this. So at least then we've got some visuals so people can kind of see what this is about. This is ShiroCon, which is very exciting indeed. This is something which it looks like it's going to be so much fun. But how long has this taken for you to kind of put together?
That's real funny. A month. That's all I
really
had. All I had. Like the mall, I want to do something for Women's History Month. It's Women's History Month in March in America. And so I was like, okay, well, me and my girls, my friends who do comics, we can go into a comic book shop and probably set up and sell some books. And I know a lot of comic shop owners here in Los Angeles. That was the idea. And it was going to be easy peasy. And so then I got the idea, woke up one morning, was like, well, let me see if the mall has anything going on because we can maybe partner up with them if they have something going on and just put some tables in the mall and sell some books. So I called them up and I was just like, oh, you guys doing anything? And they were like, no. I was like, oh, okay. So I was just like, I have this idea for a Comic Con inside the mall or what small Comic Con. They were like, we love it. And I was like, really? And so I was like, okay, well, we can do it March 24th because that gives me like 2 months. Because this is in January, then January. So this gives me some time to kind of put it together. They were like, oh, yeah, but the Easter Bunny's coming. And I was like, oh. And so they were like, well, you don't want to do it then because the Easter Bunny's going to take the stage. And I was like, okay. So she was like, well, March 9th. And I was like, well, that's really soon. And she was like, yeah, but that's a date that we have nothing going on. And I was just like, well, that's the weekend that Captain Marvel comes out. So it kind of goes into the same, the fold or whatever. I was just like, okay. And so I said, okay. And I didn't know what I was getting into because it's been absolutely crazy, but it's working out. I will say that. It's working out. The Artist Alley is complete. That's the heartbeat of it for me is Artist Alley and bringing together different women who do independent comics and do like all kinds of art. So I have those girls all together. It's about 16 girls. We'll be in Artist Alley, and then we're gonna have a stage. And that's the thing about being in a mall; they have a stage. And so I'm going to bring in. I have a composer coming that does. She did Batman, the cartoon version, and a couple of things from Marvel. She's going to come talk about composing. She does games as well. I think Halo is one of her games, I believe. The composer. I'm going to have an actress, Scarlett Johansson's body double and stunt woman in Avengers Endgame. Even though she can't talk anything about it because it's an NDA, so we're going to talk about other stuff and just sit and look pretty on stage. Then I have Janisha Adams-Ginyard, who is Denai Guerrera's stunt woman for Black Panther and for Avengers Infinity War. And then I have some surprise guests that are coming that are going to surprise me as well, because I'm not sure if they're going to come until maybe tomorrow. But I can't really announce them because if I do, it will create a fire hazard in the mall. So just know that there may be some people that are going to stop by that you may want to see, but I can't really tell you who it is. So
fair enough.
So that's what we're banking on. But if they don't come, it's still going to be awesome. We're going to have, like I say, an all-female artist alley, caricatures, face painting. Matte Cosmetics is going to be doing glitter lip demos. So you come and get your lips dipped in glitter. There's going to be me on stage talking to people, Q&As all day, and me selling Raven Choi, and the other girls are selling their books, which are awesome. They're all different. Stuff for kids. I want to have free books. So I have like some books for young girls, like the Wonder Woman books for young girls. I'll have a table full of free books for the kids to have, and it's just going to be a blast. I mean, there's never been a Comic-Con inside a mall before. This is the first one ever. So all the Westfields are looking at me. Not enough pressure being in the month. all over are looking at this event and looking at me and like, okay, how's this going to go? So I'm hoping it goes well.
This is where you kickstart a whole new subgenre of Comic-Con, taking part in the malls.
Exactly.
Oh wow! And I'm stunned that it took that quick to kind of put together. I'm guessing it was a case of going through the contact list, emailing everybody who's available, who's free. I know it's last minute. Would you be free to come? I mean, I'm guessing, how much of a challenge was it to get the people that you've got on your lineup?
It's been crazy because in Hollywood, and I know you've been to other cons, there's like, they pay really big appearance fees for people to come to these things. Shaquita doesn't have appearance fees. So it's like me talking to people like, look, this is for, we have girls coming, we have youth groups coming. I want them to see that there are different careers, that women have a place in comics. And so can you come and talk with me for maybe 10 or 20 minutes? It's been difficult. Like some of them, like the agents are like, what's your budget? I'm like, we don't have one. and then the conversation ends. But there's been a couple that have been like, oh, this will be great. You know, I'm like, it's going to be a lot of people there. The media is going to be there. It'll be a chance for you to get your name in front of people, your face in front of people, because a lot of the people that I'm talking to don't necessarily aren't in the spotlight. So it's just like, I kind of want to bring some people in to show the girls that, you know, there's different careers. That's what my talks are. When I go to high schools, talk about, I'm going to a career day next month. That's another one of my stops. It's like, there are careers in comics. You can be a colorist, you can be a writer, you can be an editor. There's all these things that you can do that they have no idea about. So yeah, so that's been my sales pitch. And I managed to get a couple people interested. Hopefully some of the bigger artists are going to stop by too, at least for maybe 10 minutes or so. And so we can shock the crowd and everybody will go crazy. But not too crazy.
It's also, I also like the fact that it's also not fully extended over the day. It's not starting super early. It's not finishing super late. It's 5 hours of just very kind of like get in, and it is kind of blast the crowd and make one hell of an impression. I think that's so cool. And I also love the fact that it's a free event as well, which I think is really exciting. That you get people who will come along and discover about not only comics but also female-led creators. I think that's and female creators. I think that's just really exciting. Can you tell us, where's the best place to follow the event? Where's the best place for people to find out more?
Okay, so the comics, I didn't create a website. I have the website, s06e20.com. If you put that in, it'll take you to the Eventbrite page, which has all the information. You can get a free ticket to come. Shiro Comics, my website, I have it up on there, so you can click to go to the Eventbrite page to get tickets. Most of all the action is happening on Facebook and Instagram. So if you go to Shiro Comics on Facebook or Instagram, I'm posting the people, announcing the people that are coming, posting their bios, so you can read about the women that are going to be there and how awesome they are. I mean, they're really awesome. Like these women are out here doing it. So I'm so excited to kind of present them to the world and use my platform, those Shiro Comics, to present them. That's what I want to do eventually. Is, like I say, my platform, and have other women come and be able to get themselves a fandom off my platform. So yeah, it's exciting. Twitter, I'm on Twitter at Shiro Comics. I don't have Snapchat. I'm not really sure what that is. I don't really use. I think it's for kids.
I think you and I are in the same boat on that one.
Yeah. So yeah, so Twitter, Facebook, Eventbrite is where the event is actually at, and it has information on it. If you go to Westville Mall, to Culver City Mall website, they also have it posted as well. So that's pretty much it for now, because it's just a one-day thing. So I'm like, I didn't want to go do an extravagant website until I see how this is going to go. But if everything goes well, I'll probably go ahead and set up the webpage. So I'll put all the pictures that we take of everybody, and the live stream that we do, and the interviews that we have with the people that come. We'll do that.
That was going to be my next question about live streaming. Will you be live streaming any of the event, and also which will be the best channel that people will find that on? Is it going to be Facebook or Periscope, or what are you thinking?
I'm definitely going to be on Facebook Live. So I'm going to have volunteers that are going to come. So there'll be one volunteer that'll probably just be like streaming it for me throughout the day, and different events that are going on, kind of showing what's happening. All the
you are going to be sick of that person by the end of the day, with a camera in your face all the time.
Well, no, we're recording it for the documentary as well, so it's going to be a part of my job. So there's already going to be a camera guy there recording. He's coming, and so it's going to be crazy, because it's like, but I'm kind of used to it at this point, because it's like doing the con, then filming a documentary, and I'm having to stop for questions and talk about what's going on in the middle of everything. So it's a juggling act, but I mean, at this point, we've traveled to Korea and spoke no Korean. We've traveled to Indonesia and spoke no Indonesian. So it's just like, we can do this. We're in America. At least we all speak the same language. So it shouldn't be a big deal.
Is that something you've discovered, that it's when you feel that there's a challenge on the horizon, and you think, oh, I don't know how on earth we're going to do this, you end up diving in feet first, and kind of realizing that, no, I can swim in these waters. I can do this. And you acclimatize and you work it out.
I've been telling everyone that, like, I've been telling the girls, like, I'm in the abyss, the Shiro Con abyss. I'm in the abyss. I think Monday is when I'll actually come up for a little bit of air and kind of see things. But it's been just kind of diving in and like, okay, sink or swim. Let's see how we're going to do this. And I think on Friday is when I start turning the corner. And I got the composer, and he's like, okay, now we have some people for the stage. Because I knew the artist alley was going to work out just fine, because the women are very excited and they've all like booked their tables. I knew the mall, I have the support of the mall, so they're going to build out everything, and kind of I have the tables delivered, so I don't have to do a lot of manual labor, thankfully. By having it in the mall, I'm kind of covered, which is great. And so, but just the stage was my last concern, was like, okay, we're going to be able to get some women to come and talk to the girls about what they do. And so I got the composer now. I have another person that writes for like video games that's going to come. So I've been able to find some women in comics that are going to come and join me on stage. And I think it's going to be phenomenal. So now I feel like a little bit, the abyss is kind of subsiding, is going down a little, the water's going down. And I'm able to breathe a little bit better.
It sounds like it's going to be such a blast. I mean, we've got loads of people who are responding and reacting on the YouTube chat. Super Catchick. Somehow this book has flown under my radar, but I'm downloading volume 1 as I type. Sounds amazing, and I love the multimedia approach with comic and film, etc. So that's really exciting. And Leanne D, she's just smacking herself for not knowing about this amazing woman. Can't wait to dive into your work. It's really cool that people are diving in. Aaron Neighbours, sounds interesting. Can't wait to check it out. Andrew Dickinson, wasn't there a con in an abandoned mall a couple of years ago? I seem to remember there was something that was organized off the back of a convention which publicly failed very badly, and on a very large very large scale. I seem to remember because it was very much about diverse voices, and they organized this convention, and it all went horribly wrong because I think they overreached or something. And I think the sorry,
it was in America.
yes, it was.
Oh,
And
no,
the convention,
I know about that con. I know about that one.
you know what I'm on about. And
Yeah.
I think the creators themselves just went, well, we're going to be in town anyway.
Yeah.
Where can we do it? And I think they took over its space and just did it.
Yeah, I know about that one.
Yeah, I think we all do. It was, yeah, fair enough. This is all. It sounds fantastic. I'm going to be slightly busy on my Saturday because, like I said in my intro, I'm going to be panel hosting down in Brighton. But thankfully, when ShiraCon is happening, it's going to be later on in the afternoon and evening here in the UK. So I'll be able to follow along. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens and how it all develops, and yeah, looking forward to seeing it going. It sounds like it's just going to be such a blast, and yeah, it sounds like you're up for a great day. It's going to be fantastic. So thank you very much indeed for coming on. I really appreciate you talk about it one more time. We talked about ShiraCon. Where can people find out about Raven Choi, and how can people buy the books?
Okay,
let's go.
So if you go to shirocomics.com, pretty much all the movie, everything's up on there. If you want to know where to buy it, that's on there too, but I'll tell you, you can go to Amazon Kindle, Comixology, Kobo, and where else is it at? It's on iTunes. So those are the places you can go buy the digital books. We have, the first 3 books are in English. The first 2 books are in Korean. Actually, the first 2 books are translated into Korean. The first book is up right now. I'm adding the second one probably in the next week or 2. And then it's coming in Spanish next. Like, I have it translated in Spanish. And so, yeah. That's
fantastic. Brilliant. Looking forward to watching what happens with ShiraCon. Very much looking forward to seeing what happens with Raven Choi. Like I say, Volume 4 is coming down the pipe in 2019. Well, no, the next 2 volumes coming down the line. Yeah, excellent stuff. Thank you so much indeed for coming on and talking to us. And yeah, have a great day next week or this week.
Yeah. Have a great day.
Stuff. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Excellent stuff. So there you go. That is, yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a great day. What I find really exciting about it is you do find some events that want to bring in more female creators to kind of diversify the lineup. This is very much a female centric event, and I find that exciting because while I'm very much for sexual equality, I find that there should be events which showcase and spotlight, and I think that's an exciting proposition to have. And for her to create these events and do that in such a public space, which is also something exciting. Something I really should have asked about the ticketing of it when it's being held in a public arena, but oh well, I will try and find out more about that and come back to you, and we'll show that on the social media. But either way, I will be sharing the links to ShiraCon, which takes place next week. That is going to be at, if I just find that's Westfield, Culver City Boulevard. Let me get this right. 6000 Sepulveda Boulevard in Culver City between 12 and 5 in the afternoon. That's next Saturday, March the 9th. So if you're in the area, go and check it out. Sounds like a lot of fun. Andrew Dickinson, wonder if she'll be getting any backlash about it. It sounds like there's a very positive vibe. I mean, that was kind of where I led with one of the questions I put to her, to find out if there has been any kind of like slapback about the approach. But it sounds like there is a lot of positivity, and I think also her approach that she's it's not a case of it's not militant feminism, if you know what I mean. It's celebratory feminism, which I have no problem with it. Well, I think no one should have a problem with that. So there we go. Dan Berry, so glad that I ran into her at Long Beach Comic Expo and mentioning the hangout to her. Yeah, thank you so much indeed to Dan for setting that up. Once again, if you do head to the conventioncollective.com, we do have some information about ShiroCon, but we're also going to do our best to review the books as well and try and get those up. Let's have a look at this. Right, so there we go. That was our chat. We are going to very quickly talk about these the Comic-Con sessions, the 101s, the kind of things that you can get up to at conventions and the best way to navigate them. This, I will admit, will be kind of teaching grammar to suck eggs to a great number of the people that I'm speaking to live on the Hangout now, because you are convention gurus in your own right. You've been to a couple, you know what to expect. But there are some people that are going to conventions for the first time and still at this point not sure what to expect and what to find and discover at these events. And I kind of found that with the Artist Alley of San Diego Comic-Con. It's something which I went into for the first time in 2014, which is so embarrassing. My first San Diego Comic-Con was 2010, so it took me 4 years, or 2013, sorry. It took me 4 years for me to kind of man up and go into Artist Alley and spend time there. I think for the first couple of years, I kind of went, oh, I'll check out Artist Alley then, and then almost ran through it. The reason being, you do kind of feel intimidated by these creators. Not only are there some familiar names that have created books and characters that you have read all your life, and you just go, how on earth do I talk to these people? What do I even say? What do I have to say to them? It's very intimidating. And I think that is certainly the first thing I can attest to, and to anybody who's wanting to go and check out Artist Alley, is do your best to kind of break through that. Because the one thing you've got to remember is that these people did not go to this con for the good of their health. They came to talk to you. They came to meet people. They came to introduce their work. Even if it's some of the biggest names on the planet, at the end of the day, they want to introduce you to their work. And that means kind of having the books in front of them and their artwork and allowing you to see it firsthand. Admittedly, the other thing that I still struggle with Artist Alley is the kind of actually stopping at a table and looking through somebody's artwork and then moving on, because I feel that I owe them for the work that they've done and that they are sharing it with me. It's very difficult, and I think this kind of attests, and it's something that we talked about when it came to Thought Bubble in Leeds this year. Oh, well, last year, sorry. It was such a huge event with row upon row, table upon table of incredible talent that in actual fact, individual sales weren't that great, and artists were coming back and saying that they didn't do as well. I think it's because people kind of look at this incredible lineup of talent and then look at a very finite amount of money in their pocket. Where do you go? There are some people that go to Artist Alley and go to see a very specific artist, someone they've been following, maybe somebody they've been communicating with on social media. But then you kind of then miss out on maybe discovering your next favorite artist. There is that thing where you have to kind of break down that wall, where you have to remember that there is a relationship between you and the person on the other side of the table. And that does mean actually stopping and talking to them. There are some faux pas you can do. Comparing someone's art to somebody else's art, that is a little bit of a no-no. At the end of the day, the artwork must stand and fall on its own merits. If it does look like somebody else's, bite your tongue and move away. At the end of the day, they'll work it out for themselves by not getting invited back, because it will get back to them. It's just very, very I mean, let's have a look at this. Andrew Dickinson. There he is. I usually discuss Artist Alley from the creator's perspective, not from the congoers. I think that's the thing. I mean, I struggle. I still struggle going to Artist Alley purely because it's then from somebody who can't draw, and I think to myself that the person on the other side surely is then going to turn around and say, okay, you like my work. Why do you like my work? Explain it to me. Why? And you feel that maybe you are going to be kind of pressured into justifying why you like somebody or why you don't like somebody. And next thing you know, it just turns into a very strange relationship. And I kind of have this when, say, for example, I've got a pile of books that I want to get signed. You end up kind of going, hi there, I would like these book signing, please, and standing there and just feeling very awkward. There is a video which I posted on my Vimeo account and shared as part of a Artist Alley post a couple of years ago on an Englishman in San Diego.com. And it was the sketch that the Nerdist.com, or the Nerdist television show at that point, did with, I think it was not Matt Myra, it was the other one, decided to go and basically troll a bunch of artists in Artist Alley by doing the things that you don't do. Basically can you draw me like this, but can you do it quick because I've got a party to go to, and bartering with somebody, or it's just some really kind of like cringe-worthy moments. I think to some degree we've all been kind of not guilty, but we've done it purely because you don't know how to respond and react to an artist on the other side of the table. At the end of the day, I think for myself, and trying to recognize what they want at the other end. Obviously, they want a sale. They want to sell a book. They want to sell a print. They want to sell the wares they have. But I think they also just want to develop a relationship with their audience. They want to see how their work is being responded to by seeing the whites of their eyes. And I think they kind of do recognize that there is this this conversation that takes place between an artist and an attendee. But first, that conversation has to get started. And that, unfortunately, starts with us. We have to have the gumption, the bottle, to go and actually talk to these creators. And I think that's where it can be difficult, but it can be done. Jonah Ray, you're absolutely right. Thank you very much indeed, Dan. Let's have a look at this. Even if I can't buy anything, I try to make a point of grabbing a card and supporting anyone I'm a fan of on social media. Very, very much so. Absolutely. Aaron Neighbors, one tip is not to haggle. Absolutely the same drill. They've determined a price, and they've determined at the end of the day that if you speak to any artist, when you talk to them about attending a convention, they have a very set goal about how much they want to earn, whether it is a certain target they want to hit. If it's a case of, can I just pay for my flights and my hotel? At the end of the day, they've taken their time out of creating work at their table or at in their studio to come to a city to sit behind a table. You have to make it, there has to be a reason for them to do that. And developing that relationship with people, that's, I think, the main reason why they do it. Obviously, they want the sale. I would certainly do your best to, I was going to say have the money available. Don't expect there to be a card reader behind every table, although that is something that is now starting to become a little bit more prevalent, that people are now getting these kind of card readers or Apple Pay scanners and taking card payments, which I think is rather handy to have. But let's have a look at this. This is the Mac Phantom. I like the layout of New York Comic Con's Artist Alley more than San Diego Comic Con. Being away from the main floor kind of helps with the overflow from the company booths, and it's a bit quieter as you can talk to the artist. Yeah, I think I'll also kind of work with this in with other conventions where I've gone to, where it's pure comics creators. Something I definitely noticed with, say, MCM down in London, where it's very much like the San Diego Comic Con model. The artist alley is at the end of the building, or in between the building, the rest of the floor, and some of the panel rooms. You ended up a lot of flow through those tables, but from people who weren't going to see the artists in particular. And it ended up being very much people just kind of being very disrespectful to the artists, either just putting drinks down on tables and just flicking through, and so like really grubbing up the artwork. Very much, I'm not going to say tourists, because at the end of the day, they paid to go to a Comic-Con, so you can't say that. But you can certainly say that there's those that have gone to an artist alley in particular, and that's why MCM is a bit of a strange layout, because it's still very much known as a pop culture con, which has now really started to ramp up its artist alley and its comic content. It's still getting that kind of those people that aren't familiar with the books, kind of disrespecting the relationship between attendee and artist. I think that's possibly where I like those shows where it is either pure comics or the artist alley is being put together in a more respectful manner. I totally understand and agree with that. I think there's various posts out there about how creators talk to each other for advice, such as hand cream, such as making sure that there's snacks underneath the table, making sure that you look everyone in the eye, approach people with a smile, become more of a salesperson. There's lots of that kind of conversation, but I don't think there's been much in the way of posts between the con goer and how they can actually approach Artist Alley. So that's why I wanted to talk about it today. Thank you very much indeed to everybody who has jumped in and made their comments. If you do have any other suggestions, I think I might start a hashtag and we'll just kind of get something going perhaps about attendees and their approach to Artist Alley, because I think it's something that people should explore. If you've never been to an artist alley before, if you've gone to a convention to go to see the panels, if you've gone to see the booths, if you've gone to see the gaming section, or if you've gone to see the creator section, if you've never been into artist alley, do it. I think you'll be incredibly surprised, not only at just how warm and inviting it can be, because at the end of the day, these people want to talk to you. And they've traveled a long way to meet people. But I also think you'll possibly find that there is this deep level of creativity, a well of just very clever and intelligent and articulate and very passionate people that are wanting to share their artwork with you. They may not be the ones that are on every month on Marvel and DC. They may be on the smallest publisher going, but they are there to show you what they can do, and it's worth checking them out. And that's where I stand on Artist Alley. Right, I'm going to wrap things up then. Thank you very much indeed for joining us today. Just to let you know about next week, like I say, I'm going to be heading down to ICE International Comic Expo in Brighton. I am going to be sharing the sessions and a number of the other sessions that are taking place as well on my Patreon account. So if you're a Patreon supporter, you'll get those live. And then about a week, 2 weeks later, I'll be posting them up on the conventioncollective.com. I will say that it's one hell of a lineup that Shane Chebsey has put together down in Brighton. So I think it'll be worthwhile you checking out, whether you check that out later down the line, or if you check them out on Patreon, even just for a couple of pennies, just put something into the pot. It allows us to do what we do. And also think you'll get a lot out of the sessions that I'm going to be live streaming. So that's next week. Right. The other thing as well that I wanted to very quickly announce, I just see how many people are watching this at the moment, so at least we get an idea Oh, no, I can't see how many people are watching, so never mind. But let's just quickly talk about this. I've mentioned over the last couple of months and year and a bit that financially things have not gone well for me. Bills have happened, life has interrupted, and it's just not gone spectacularly well. The idea for an Englishman in San Diego and the Convention Collective was for allowing me to create a possible income stream to allow me to attend conventions, to then share them back with yourself, either via just attending and taking pictures and sharing information about these conventions, or indeed just doing what I can by attending panels. I mean, I totally appreciate what has come out of what I've done, because it's allowed me to become a panel host at some of these events and meet some amazing creative people, icons of my own comics reading. However, it has still shown that financially I've just not been able to maintain what I've able to do, and indeed dug myself a little bit of a hole, both myself and Caroline, over attending shows like San Diego Comic-Con over the last couple of years. To which point I'm going to have to say that we are at this point 90 to 95% sure that we're not going to be able to attend San Diego Comic-Con this year. I've been accepted at press. Caroline's bought her badge. We just simply can't afford to attend. I'm saying 90 to 95 because I'm still working on the Kevin Smith model. Let's just max out every credit card. Let's dive ourselves into every loan going and just kind of, yeah, just sink myself into the hole. But the hole is getting awfully big, and I'm struggling to see the light at the top of it. So at this point, we are 90 to 95% sure that we're not going to be able to make it to San Diego Comic-Con. We have organized San Diego in the past in a lot fewer time scale than this. We've done it in about a month and a half, where we've gotten flights and we've gotten everything sorted, and we've finally gotten everything together. This year, we can't see how we can do it. I'm saying 90 to 95 because you never know. Like I say, I've got my badge. I'm over halfway through organizing a panel for the convention, and I want to go. It's an anniversary show. It's going to be an amazing San Diego Comic-Con. It's one that it will kill me to miss. But at the end of the day, if we can't afford to do it, we can't afford to do it. So that's where we are at the moment. If things change, I'll let you know. But for now, that's where we stand. The thing is, we will continue doing what we do. If anything, we'll try and get live streams coming in from various events. Even if it is San Diego Comic-Con, I think I've even turned around and said I'd probably be able to get more coverage done of San Diego Comic-Con by not going, because I'll actually have time to sit down and type stuff up. But there's nothing that quite matches being there, is there? So that's where we are. Let's have a look at this. Someone win the Powerball. We had a recent 154 million Euro Millions prize up for grabs. And yes, I did put 15 quid on it. That's where I am at the moment. I'm entering the lottery in an attempt to kind of attend these things. At the end of the day, it's not going to stop me attending conventions. It's not going to stop me doing what I do. It's opened up the doors for me to panel host at some amazing events here in the UK. ICE, not MCon, because I'm going to be attending Portsmouth Comic-Con that weekend. Portsmouth Comic-Con, the MCM shows. I've got McPow, which I'm going to be attending. There's all these shows that I'm going to be showing up at, and they are allowing me to kind of go, and they're paying me and putting me up in hotels, and that's great. Getting across the pond, that's a whole other ball game. So let's have a look at this. Leanne D, I'm offering you guys a hotel. It's not just, at the end of the day, we can't just, let's see where we go. Let's see. I think what I've actually turned around to Caroline and said is, if things don't change, if something doesn't happen, or if something doesn't connect, if I don't get a job in the next 2 to 3 weeks, that'll be the nail in the coffin. This is the month. We're at the 3rd now. I'd say 3 weeks into it, we'll know. So tell you what, let's continue with the course that we've set. Let's put it this way. Next week, I'm going to be at ICE. And then on Sunday, I'm going to be coming back and speaking to you and talking to you all about it. And we've got a special guest. This one I'm actually very, very excited about. It's going to be a very interesting conversation for me to have, because you can talk to this woman about so much stuff, which could quite frankly set comics fucking alight. Heaven knows there are a number of channels out there that want to see this woman burnt at the stake. Heather Antos, who is a former editor for Marvel Comics. She is the woman that went through social media for a whole bunch of female creators meeting up together and having milkshakes. Remember that from a couple of years ago when Comicsgate decided to jump on her? She's now moved on. She's now working as an editor for Valiant Comics. She is an amazing talent, and it's going to be I'm so glad that Leanne D introduced us. I've been following Heather for a while. I've spoken to her a couple of times on Twitter, but Leanne D actually said, would you be up for going on this hangout? And I said, we'd love to have you. She said yes. Heather Antos is going to be our special guest on next week's show. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's keep the smiles on. Let's keep our hopes up. Let's keep our caps tipped to one side in a jaunty manner. And let's enjoy the rest of the year. Let's see how we do. You never know. You may find me out there. I'm hoping. I mean, I want to go. Let's see what happens. Okay. Right. Let's have a look at this. Andrew Dickinson, WonderCon, not me, as I have to pick up on the site. What's this? Listen, thank you so much indeed for all the support. I really appreciate it. It's just a case of it's real life that's kind of interrupted. And at the end of the day, we're talking, I mean, you know how expensive it is to do San Diego Comic-Con. It's just the nature of the beast. It's a big event with a big bill. Remember, San Diego Comic-Con 2010 was supposed to be a one-off. It was supposed to be a bucket list thing. It was going to be the, let's tick that off. We're not going to be able to go every year, are we? And somehow we pulled it off. This year, it's just difficult to do. So there we go. Right. Let's keep our optimism up. Let's keep going through. Loads of great shows planned coming up. Yes, it's going to be, we've still got some great content here on this channel. And next week, we are going to be bringing a fair amount from the ICE International Comics Expo and all the other shows that I'm going to be attending throughout the year, that I am going to be posting mostly to the Patreon first, and then sharing on with the rest of the channels. So please do support where you can. We'd really appreciate it. Do take care. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Something else I might as well mention as well while I've got you. I do a show on HWD Hospital Radio, which takes place between 6 and 8 on a Monday evening. It's my little slice of nerd where I talk nerd stuff. We're really going to be talking about Captain Marvel because I've got midnight screening tickets for this week. Myself, Caroline, Neil, and Sharon, we are going to see that thing midnight on Thursday into Friday morning. So yeah, looking forward to Captain Marvel. Huge. So we've got all of that. And we talk about all the headlines of the day and of the week as well. If you'd like to join in and listen along, that's hwdhospitalradio.com. We'll also be talking about a fundraising effort that I'll be doing in 2 weeks' time as part of a 48-hour sponsored broadcast. I'm going to be on air at the dead of night if you'd like to join me along for that. But there we go. That's what we've got going up. Do take care. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And hopefully we'll see you next week for another Talking Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego with Heather Antos next week. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.